Hello, and welcome to your tutorial on how to complete a benchmark in unique learning systems. First thing first, let me introduce Everway. Everway is the new name for the full suite of tools, curriculum tools that we're using, just one of those tools being unique learning systems. So this used to be referred to as N2Y, and now we are referring to it as Everway. So welcome to Everway. Everway, for now, especially for the purposes of overextended school year, is going to look very much the same as it always has. You are going to see some small changes over the course of the summer, names changing, those sorts of things, but don't worry, everything is going to really follow the same vein. It's going to be the same curriculum that you have been experiencing with unique learning systems. So do not fret. Your benchmarks are in the same spot, your checkpoints, all of those things, your lessons. So let's go ahead and get started. First, you're going to sign in as a teacher, admin. You're going to use the same login that you would have used for N2Y. And once you sign in, you are going to go to your menu on the left-hand side. Now, in order to administer these benchmarks, you need to make sure that your students are seated in your class. And let's just look at that very quickly. In order to sit your students, you're going to go to your students. You are going to come to Add Student in the top right corner. You're going to select Add Existing Student if they are already a student within CMS. Chances are they are because you're doing extended school year. Or if you need to go ahead and create a new student if they don't have a profile within Unique Learning Systems or within N2Y Everway yet. There's a lot of new names. And you're going to continue and you're going to type that student's name in or their student number, and you'll be able to find that existing student and sit them in your class. Once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and go to Menu, and you're going to come into the Unique Learning Suite. Here, you're going to click on your N2Y GPS, and you are going to select the student who you are administering your benchmark to. So go ahead and select this little blue rectangle over here, and you're going to see all of your student names. Once you select the student who you want to give the benchmark to, you're going to scroll down into their profile, and under Benchmarks, click the button that says Benchmarks. So let's talk about why and how we are going to be administering these benchmarks. Benchmarks are going to be used to track not only IEP goal data, but any goal data that we have. So when you get the ESY profile, if they're working on a specific skill, like let's say that we have emerging a window of opportunity and they specifically specify something with spelling or something with counting, rote counting, those sorts of things, we want to make sure that we are selecting our benchmarks strategically so that we are taking that data on those goals. So if you have an IEP goal that you are monitoring, you need to have a benchmark attached to it. This may look like 2 or 3 or 4 ELA benchmarks. It may look like 2 or 3 or 4 math benchmarks, but if you are serving students during extended school year with IEP goals, they must have a benchmark attached to that IEP goal. Let me give you an example. So let's say that we have a student who is working on addition. Now, this particular student is in the 5th grade, so they are that elementary, that intermediate level, but that is not so much an indicator for the benchmark. We are looking for skill-based benchmarks. So if you have a 5th grader who is working on identifying addition and subtraction symbols, that sort of thing, you're not going to be doing the same benchmark, right? This is not on the grade level that they are at. This is on the IEP goal level. So these benchmarks need to reflect the IEP goal. So let's say that the student is working on addition. So I'm going to go ahead and type in addition, and it is going to bring up for me all of the benchmarks that involve addition. And that is going to be all the way up into algebraic thinking and all the way down here into emerging number calculation. So I have to identify the one that fits my student's goal the best. They're not going to fit perfectly. That's okay. This is a probe. It's a benchmark. They're not going to always fit perfectly, but it's also a lesson for us to, as we're writing these goals, to do our best to attempt to write goals that fit these benchmarks. These benchmarks are standards based, they're standards driven. So it is a good practice moving forward as we're writing goals ourselves as teachers in the classroom to try and find a benchmark that works with a goal. Try to write a goal that works with a benchmark, right? They're twofold, and it's going to serve you in the long run, and we're going to talk a little bit about why in this video. So you are looking over these and you say, you know what, I think addition and subtraction 1, word problems within 10 really fit the student's needs. I read their present levels. I think that this is exactly where they are at. So I'm going to go ahead and assign this benchmark. So I clicked on the benchmark. There's a couple ways you can do it, right? You can either print out the PDF and the scoring guide, and you can administer it separately on paper, and then you can log it in offline mode. That is completely an option. This is going to give you all the directions on how to administer it. Please, before you administer a benchmark, read over this quickly and figure out how it is supposed to be administered. It can be extremely helpful. It will give you ideas on what you need, counters, a tray, visual supports, printed copies. So those are like material suggestions that you need to administer the benchmark. So I always recommend looking at that PDF and scoring guide before you administer any benchmark. If you give it to them offline, you are going to go ahead and do the print and score. Here is the print offline assessment. That gives you it all printed out. I love to administer them this way. It's very easy to just give it like this and then score it offline. It's always an option. And then you'll go ahead and say start offline scoring once you give the assessment, and it will let you go ahead and do that, right? So you can say, and then you can also give notes, some anecdotal notes. So that's one option. You give it offline, you give it on paper, and then you come back and you log that piece of data. Another option is a student view, and you can assign it to the student. Let's just say you're assigning it to all of your student. This is great if you're assigning it to multiple, and maybe you're having a TA run it on an iPad or a Chromebook or something like that. That is an option as well. And then you're going to go ahead and assign that, and when you assign it, they will be able to view it within their profile when they log in. The last option that you have for doing the benchmark assessment is to do teacher-led assessment. This is very commonly used. I find that this one is used the most within my classrooms that I support. So what you'll do here is you'll go ahead and launch that teacher-led assessment, and it is going to give you verbally what you need to say, what you need to do. So with this one, it gives you the question that you read out loud. So you'll just simply say, Mia collects 2 shells. Jack collects 1 shell. How many do they collect altogether? And you can give them these options. What I like to do is sometimes I'll take a whiteboard to give these to the options to students larger, or you can print them out. Or what I would recommend is have all the materials printed out from that PDF that I showed you earlier and have it ready to give those visual supports, those options. But a lot of students can go ahead and select from this small options here, but some of our students cannot. So it's important to be mindful of that. So you give them the options. Mia collects 2 shells. Jack collects 1 shell. How many do they collect altogether? 1, 3, or 4? And then go ahead and let them make a selection. If they do it incorrectly, let's see here. It's going to go ahead and let you move forward. So what you'll notice between the benchmark versus the checkpoints is the checkpoints are very much like in the style of extend one testing, right? You give 3 options. If they get it wrong, you take 1 away, you give them back, you can increase the prompting, right? Or the level of prompting. But within the benchmarks, you can make those decisions when you're giving the benchmark, but you have to anecdotally note that. It's not going to do it for you. So if you know your student requires partial physical prompting, then at the end, when you do the anecdotal notes, if you gave partial physical prompting with all of these, or if you gave verbal prompting, or if you gave gestural prompting, just make sure you note that. You know, that is an important piece of data. It really indicates the independence, and it's something that is important when you're doing this benchmark data, because if a goal says that he'll do it independently and you're giving verbal, gestural, and partial physical response or prompting, then that isn't really a goal met, right? So we want to make sure that we're noting those things when we're taking our data. So you're just going to go through all these. And if they do no response, you're just not going to put an answer and it's just incorrect. And you make your way through that benchmark. And then at the end of it, it's going to give you a piece of data. It's going to give you a summary. And this is why the benchmarks are fabulous, right? So it's going to tell you when you took it, and it's going to give you an actual like summary, an AI generated summary of what it indicated in the data. So student is not yet able to solve addition word problems using 10, using manipulate as a demonstration. Blah, 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 blah. So this is giving you your data. This is great to use in present levels. It's great to use in data reports, especially when we are creating our reports at the end of ESY and we are really synthesizing the data while we are using this data to um, make formative decisions, right, over the summer. Like it's very important. So what you're going to see with these benchmarks is that we're wanting to give we want you to give baseline benchmarks. So you are going to give a benchmark for all of the goals that the student has. If they have 3 reading and 3 math, you're going to give 3 reading and 3 math benchmarks. If they have 1 reading and 1 math, you can give 1 reading and 1 math benchmark. I would recommend 2 for each. It really is just going to be based off of each individual student. This is something to consult with your monitor about because they are going to support you in either selecting those benchmarks, or they will give you suggestions and recommendations if they feel like you need additional benchmarks. This is the time for data. ESY is very data heavy. We need to show that we are effective. We need to show that we are making growth. And we need to show that they came to ESY for a purpose and we are meeting that need, right? And the way that we show that we're meeting those needs, or to even determine if we're meeting those needs or not, is going to be through the data that we take in ULS. So as you are IEP goal progress monitoring and giving benchmarks, these are really twofold. So you are going to want to give those baseline benchmarks at the beginning of ESY. Those need to be completed before the last day of the first week. The first week starts on the 23rd, so you'll have the 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th to complete benchmarks for all students and their goals, each of their goals. And you're going to also complete a benchmark on the midpoint of ESY. So you'll do one the first week, you'll skip the second week, you'll do one on the third week. So you'll reassess those on the third week, you'll skip the fourth week, and then you'll reassess on the fifth week. So we're expecting 3 different benchmark data points over the course of extended school year. Let me rephrase that just so we understand. If a student has 1 math and 1 reading goal, you are doing baseline the first week of ESY for 1 math, 1 reading goal. You're going to do a midpoint assessment on the third week. You're going to reassess those benchmarks on the third week, and then you are going to reassess them again on the final week of ESY. And those are going to serve as your benchmark data points, but also your IEP goal progress monitoring. We will talk a little bit more about additional progress monitoring that we can do on IEP goals that may not fit within the parameters of a benchmark, but we really want to be leaning on those benchmarks for progress monitoring. If you have any questions whatsoever about benchmark assessments, how to administer them, which ones to choose, anything to do with benchmark assessments, because this is an extremely important part of data collection for ESY, then please consult with your monitor. Your monitor is going to guide you through this process and make sure that the data that you're taking is synthesizable, it's meaningful, it is not a waste of your time. We don't want you to just be taking data to take data. This is data that matters, and this is data that is truly going to serve the needs of the student, and it's going to serve you as a person who synthesizes data to make decisions. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful.